Hey, greetings good people, and welcome to yet another episode of MOSHBITS. Now, today's episode is actually going to start with some sad news coming from AMD because the company is apparently planning to end the life of the 5700 and 5700 XT graphics cards that they were making up until now. This means that AMD will no longer be making either reference or custom boards for the 5700 series GPUs, so whatever is left out there is what we are actually going to be able to get our hands on. Now, I also expect prices to go down as they're clearing stock, so who knows, maybe you'll also be able to get your hands on a cheaper 5700 or 5700 XT really soon if you are planning to get your hands on one for your next build. But with that being said, AMD is also going to release its, well, showcase at least, its upcoming 6900 series graphics cards really soon. That is on the 28th of October. And I really expect them to actually have started ramping up production for those cards because I would assume that they want to avoid a paper launch, just like Nvidia had for the RTX 3080 and 3090 cards, something that I've discussed about in, I think it was yesterday's video. Either way, that is going to be linked somewhere around here. Now, the latest leaks and rumors point out to the 6900 XT being able to challenge the RTX 3080 for a price that will be anywhere between $549 to $699. Now, I would assume that in euros this would be the same, so 549 euros or 699 euros. Now, I say challenge because according to Moore's Law is Dead, the 6900 XT might be able to outperform the RTX 3080 in some certain applications and games depending on the resolution that you're playing them at. And I sure hope so that they're going to be able to do so because Microsoft and their game, the Microsoft Flight Simulator, will be getting VR support, and Lord Gaben only knows what kind of graphics cards and horsepower we're going to be able to run this game in VR at decent frame rates. Now, Asobo, who are working on developing this for Flight Simulator, have also opened the list for those who can take part in the closed beta for this game, and sadly it will only be open to those that have access to a Windows mixed reality headset. But this is also good because if you're planning to get yourself an HP G2, then you might be in luck because that is actually a Windows mixed reality headset. Speaking of the G2 OMNI-PERFORMANCE version, we've seen that work with Toby's technology, the eye tracking technology. That's what it does to increase the performance in VR by 39%, which is mind-boggling if you start thinking about it. Now, like I said, I've covered the OMNI-PERFORMANCE in about 2 episodes ago. Either way, that's going to be linked somewhere around here. But what you need to know is that the headset is only going to be sold to businesses and developers that want to work on this to create more VR applications and what have you. I have no clue, but please, HP, can you also make this available to normal customers like myself? That would be really cool. Now, if you don't want to play any VR games, but instead would like to play something more casual, then I guess you could start playing Fall Guys right now, because in 2 weeks, we're gonna get access to the second season of the game, which is going to be bringing a medieval theme, and it's going to have a lot of drawbridges and giant swing axes, and all of the things that I've just talked about right now kind of remind me of another Cyanide and Happiness episode with the Cloud King, and if you know what I'm talking about, then this is going to do a lot of things for you, aside from sounded really awkward, I would say. But with that being said, and without those really loud and fast claps, let's get into the nibbles because this is just my section where I talk about some news, but in a really fast way because I don't have a lot of comments to give with regards to them. Nevertheless, let's start with the first one, which is TRILLER being caught lying. Now, TRILLER has been accused of lying this time around with regards to the number of monthly active users that they have. And if you're somehow asking yourself, what the heck is TRILLER? Well, it's a TikTok's latest competitor, and I assume it has started in the US, but nevertheless, the way I heard about it was actually from an interview that erradicate has done with Roberto Blake, and as far as I am concerned, I think this has also received a major investment from Jake Paul, and whenever I hear the name Jake Paul and these kinds of apps like TikTok and TRILLER, I'm like, no, I don't want to hear about it. Now, with that being said, the latest news about it point out to them having lied about their numbers, and I don't think this is something that you should necessarily care about, but hey, I wanted you to know. As long as this doesn't come pre-installed with my phone, and your phone either, I think we're all doing great, fantastic. And speaking of getting apps pre-installed on your phone, this new European Union law could actually ban Google and Apple and many other companies from pre-installing its own apps onto the devices that they sell you. Now, the Digital Service Act will limit the ability of companies selling phones or computers to pre-install apps on the devices they sell to you, like I said, and this might also force them to offer an option to completely delete those pre-installed apps, which is fantastic if you are to ask me, because man, I hate having pre-installed apps on my phone or on my PC that I simply cannot delete. And yes, this also happens on the S8 if you have one. But since this is an early draft, we don't know what the law will actually end up looking like and if it's in fact going to be accepted, but one can only hope, right? And also, don't get your hopes up if you think that things have changed at big corporations with regards to sexism and toxic environments, because apparently an internal survey from Ubisoft showed us that 25% of its employees have seen or experienced workplace misconduct. Now, in the past couple of months, Ubisoft has actually fired or has had some pretty big names step down from the company, and its CEO has also said that it's now creating and conducting compulsory anti-sexism and anti-harassment training courses, so maybe things will actually get better, at least at Ubisoft, if not at all big corporations. Now, you might also want to realize that it's not really nice to be a total sexist or harass people, but with regards to that, well, I guess it's somehow related to it. Nevertheless, Twitter has just decided that it's not okay to wish someone's death, even if that person is someone you really despise. Wishing gruesome things to people to happen, or anything that is closely related to death threats should never see the light of day on social media platforms. And like I said, Twitter have now agreed that this is something wrong, and they're now trying to delete all comments that wish Trump would die of human malware. Now, looking at my YouTube analytics, you're all adults and you can make your own choices of what to do online, so I won't tell you what to do, but I would say that this is really wrong. But now it's time to talk about Google, because in pure Google fashion, they've just killed yet another product, this being its Play Movies and TV app, and replaced it with Google TV. And here's a funny news title for you on screen right now. Looks cool, eh? And I'm curious as to how well this will actually work, but here's yet another sign to convince you that Google, of all companies, just loves to kill its services, and maybe it will actually kill Stadia next. And in other news, let's just go to Apple, and I have to let you know that Apple TV now supports 4K playthrough for YouTube videos, which means you'll be able to watch all those crispy MKBHD videos yet again, now in higher quality, or even crispier, I should say. Oh, and also the iPad Air, the fourth generation of it, has gotten some sick performance numbers in Geekbench, but nobody should be really surprised at this point because it has an A14 Bionic chip, so yeah, this was actually expected to be really good. And with that being said, I think nobody is surprised to find out that this is actually the end of the episode, where I tell you to watch all my MOSHBITS episodes somewhere around here, or you can also watch the how should I call it? The ramble episode that I did on Facebook's review of the Social Dilemma movie, which, by the way, you should really check out. And yeah, what else can I tell you guys? In the video description, you're also going to be able to find all the links to the sources that have been used in the making of this video, as well as the original authors, and I think you should check them out because they're great. You're great too, and with that being said, you know this is my outro at this point. I need to go. Bye-bye!